Hello students, in the previous videos we have seen simple 8051C programs and also the unsigned char data type. Today let us see the few more data types. First one is signed char. The signed char is also an 8-bit data type just like unsigned char, but here the D7th bit, that is the MSB bit, is used to represent plus or minus sign. It means we have only 7 bits for the magnitude of the signed number, giving us the values from minus 128 to plus 127. Therefore, we should stick with the unsigned char unless the data needs to be presented as signed numbers. So, unless and until it is very much essential, for example, if you want to represent temperature, the significance of sign is must there. So if that is the situation, then we have to go for the signed numbers. Otherwise, we should stick to the unsigned char only. Here we have an example. Write an 8051C program to send values of -4 to +4 to port 1. So we have seen how to send data to port 1. Here we have to send data within the given range. Hence we need a array here, and you can observe in the main function here char minum. It means for signed data type we need not precede the declaration with the signed keyword. By default it will be taken as signed. Therefore just char, if we write, it will be taken as a signed char data type. Char minum, it's an array, and in that array all the elements are stored. Next we have a unsigned variable z, and in the loop we are sending all the 8 values to port 1. Next is the unsigned int. This unsigned int is a 16-bit data type, and it takes the value in the range of 0 to 65,535. Okay, in hex it is 00000 to 4FH. Next we have we can define 16-bit variables such as memory addresses using this data type. We can also set counter values of more than 256. So using 8-bit data type we can have counter values up to 256. If you want more, then we should go for the unsigned int value data type. Since registers and memory address accesses are in 8-bit chunks, the misuse of int variables will result in a larger hex file. Since the memory is critical in 8051 programming, we try to use unsigned char data type wherever possible, unless and until we need the unsigned int data type. Then signed int is a 16-bit data type. Here the MSB bit, D15th bit, is used to represent the sign, and we have, out of the 16 bits, 1 bit is for sign, so remaining 15 bits are for magnitude of the number, and this is the range for the signed integers, that is minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. We have a simple program here. Write an 8051C program to toggle bit D0 of the port P1. Okay. So here we have a special data type that is known as S bit. The S bit keyword is a widely used 8051C data type designed specifically to access single bit addressable registers. Means it allows access to the single bits of the special function registers. So S bit is a data type. So using this data type, one variable my bit has been declared, and it is initialized to the 0th bit of P1 port. P1 arrow 0 here means the 0th bit of P1 is assigned to the variable my bit. Then in the main function we have a unsigned integer variable, that is z, and using a for loop we are going to toggle the 0th bit of P1 port. Okay, first we are sending 0, then we are sending 1. So when you execute this program, the P1 port's 0th bit will be toggling. Once it will be having value as 0 and another next it will be having value as 1. Continuously it will be toggling. Next data type is the bit data type. Allows access to single bits of bit addressable memory spaces from 20 to 2FH. So we know bit addressable RAM here. So from 20 to 2FH, all the bit addressable memory spaces can be accessed using the SBIT data type. To access the byte-sized SFR registers, we have to use the SFR data type. So this table is a summarization of all the data types that we have seen. So you can go through that. Here the largest data type is unsigned int and signed int, and the smallest one is SBIT and bit data type. Already we have used it in the previous chapters. S bit means SFR bit addressable only. So S bit has to be used whenever we want to have the special function registers. Bit data type, it's a RAM bit addressable only. Then SFR data type, it's a 8-bit data type. It can be used to access RAM addresses from 80 to FFH only. So from 80 to FFH. In this diagram you can observe. Okay. So if you want to access byte address, you have to go for the SFR data types. If you want to access the bits, then you have to go for either S bit or just bit data type. Then time delay. There are two ways to create a time delay in 8051C. First one is using a simple for loop, and second one is using the 8051 timers. So while creating a time delay using a for loop, we must be mindful of three factors. First one is the 8051 design, that is the number of machine cycle, the number of clock periods per machine cycle. So we know the number of clock periods is going to vary for every member of 8051 family. Then second factor is the crystal frequency connected to the X1 and X2 input pins. Third one is the compiler choice. So C compiler converts the C statements into and functions into assembly language instructions. So different compilers produce different code. So which compile you are going to choose, that is also a factor in designing the time delay. Here is an simple example, the same example that we have already seen, but here the delay has been inserted. This is a C program to toggle bits of port 1 continuously forever with some delay in between. So let us see the program. We have an unsigned int variable x, and we have since it is we have to toggle the bits continuously forever. Inside the for loop, no conditions have been written. It's an infinite loop. Here P1, initially we are sending 55H value to port 1. After that some delay is being inserted using a for loop. Here the inner for loop, and next we are sending double AH value to port 1, then again inserting a delay. So when you execute this program and compare it with the previous one, you can observe there is a delay in toggling. Then we have another program here. In the previous example, we were not given by how much time the delay has to be performed. In the next example, we should have a delay of 250 milliseconds. Then here it can be done using a function. So first, after the preprocessor statement, in this example we have the function declaration. Function return type is void, name is msdelay, and it takes one parameter, that is unsigned int. And in the main function, while 1 means repeat forever, you can also use the same for loop what we have used in the previous example. Initially 55H value is sent. After that the function is called msdelay and the value passed is 250. So the function is being defined here outside the main function, and in this function there's a simple for loop which executes this number of times, I time number of times. and then after that again double AH value is sent to P1, and then once again the MS delay is called. So if you want to have a delay with a given time, if the time is mentioned, then you have to write a function, otherwise you can do it using a simple for loop like this. Next is IO programming. IO programming, in that there are two types, byte size IO and bit addressable IO programming. First let us look at the byte sized IO. In this example, LEDs are connected to bits P1 and P2. Write an 8051C program that shows the count from 0 to FFH on the LEDs. Here hash include first statement, preprocessor statement, we have the header file, and then the second statement it is actually hash define LED P2, means we are giving a name to the port P2. Wherever we write LED, it is P2 only, the port P2 only. Since ports P0 to P3 are byte addressable, and we use P0 to P3 labels as defined in the 8051 or 52 header file. Next, in the main function, first both the ports are cleared, P1 equal to 0 and LED equal to 0, means indirectly we are clearing the port 2, and inside a infinite loop both are incremented. So until all the from 0 to FFH value, this will be performed, this loop will be performed. Next is another example. Write an 8051C program to get a byte of data from port 1, wait half second, and then send it to port 2. Here we have to insert a delay, and the time is given, hence we need to write a delay function. It is just the same as we have seen in the previous example. And in the main function, one variable of unsigned char type is declared, that is my byte. Then P1, the port 1 is initialized with FFH value, meaning that we are making it as an input port. And inside the loop, first my byte is equal to P1, whatever value is there in the port 1, it is sent to the variable, it is received by the variable my byte. Then insert the delay. Here we have to insert delay of half second, which means 500 millisecond. Therefore 500 value is sent, then P2 is equal to my byte. Then we have the byte sized IO. Write an 8051C program to get a byte of data from P0. If it is less than 100, send it to P1, otherwise send it to P2. In this program, 3 ports are involved. The input port is P0. Based on the value from P0, we have to send the output either to port 1 or port 2. And here no delay is required, hence no function is being written. In the main function, first we have unsigned char my byte, then since we have to make P0 as a input port, therefore P0 is equal to 0 cross FF. Then inside the while loop, first we have to take data from P0, my byte equal to P0. Then we have to check, is the my byte value less than 100? So if it is less, then send it to P1, otherwise send it to P2. It's a simple program. Next, write an 8051C program to toggle only bit P2.4 continuously without disturbing the rest of the bits of P2. Means here we require only a particular bit of some port, that is P2. We are going to use the S bit data type. The ports P0 to P3 are bit addressable, and we use S bit data type to access the S bit data type to access a single bit of P0 to P3. Here we have to use px raised to y format, where x is the port 0, 1, 2 or 3 and y is the bit 0 to 7 of that port. So the meaning of this statement is s bit my bit equal to p2 raised to 4 means we are accessing the fourth bit of p2 port. We have to toggle it, so we know how to toggle the bits. Then write an 8051 C program to monitor bit p1.5. If it is high, send 55H to p0, otherwise send double H AH to p2. Again, it's a simple program. I hope you can understand. We have to again use the S bit data type here. The input is p1.5 bit. Based on the value in that bit, we have to send two values here. Let us look at this program. Here it's again bit addressable IO. This is also bit addressable IO, bit addressable IO, and this is byte addressable. Okay. Wherever you are using S bit data type, that is bit addressable. A door sensor is connected to the p1.1 pin and a buzzer is connected to p1.7. Write an 8051 C program to monitor the door sensor, and when it opens, sound the buzzer. You can sound the buzzer by sending a square waves of a few hundred hertz. Here we have to have a delay, so the delay function is declared, and we have two S bit variables. One is the door sensor, D sensor is equal to p1.1 mentioned in the question. p1 raised to 1 we have to write, and second one is the buzzer, which is p1 raised to 7. Initialize the door sensor variable with 1, that is make p1.1 as the input, and based on the value of that, here you have to take buzzer equal to 0, insert delay, then make buzzer equal to 1, and again insert a delay. The delay function is same as in the previous examples. We go through this example, and next one is write an 8051 C program to toggle all the bits of p0, p1 and p2 continuously with a 250 millisecond delay. Use the SFR keyword to declare the port address. So here it is accessing special function register addresses, that is from 80 to FFH. Solution. First thing is accessing ports as SFRs using SFR data type. Here we have the data type SFR, and p0 we have initialized these ports with their addresses p0, p1, p2. You can see the address here. For p0 the address is 80H, the address is 80H for p0. For p1 it is 90H, for p2 it is A0H. So these addresses are taken. So for p0 80H value, for p1 90H value, for p2 A0H value, and the delay function is written inside the main function. First 55H value is sent to all the 3 ports, and then delay is inserted, and next AH value is sent, and once again delay is inserted. This is at a time you are toggling all the 3 ports. Write an 8051 C program to turn bit p1.5 on and off 50,000 times. On and off means we have to use 1 or 0 values, and here it is p1.5. Using the S bit data type, you can have the address of p1.5, referring that diagram, it is 95H, and here using the M bit you can turn it on and off. Using the simple for loop also you can perform, either you can also use the msdelay function. Here notice that there is no hash include register 51.h. This allows us to access any byte of the SFR RAM space 82FF. This is widely used for the new generation of 8051 microcontrollers. Next is using bit data type for bit addressable RAM. So we have seen how to use S bit data type. Now let us see how to use the bit data type. Write an 8051C program to get the status of bit P1.0, save it and send it to P2.7 continuously. We have two variables of S bit type, that is in bit and out bit. In bit is P1 raised to 0 and out bit is P2 raised to 7. Bit mem bit, use bit to declare bit addressable memory. So initially in the for loop, mem bit is equal to in bit value, that is get a bit from P1.0, then out bit is equal to mem bit, send it to P2.7. Next we have logical operators and bitwise operators in C. We know about the logical operators AND, OR and NOT, and bitwise operators are single AND, OR, XOR, inverter, shift, right shift and left shift. And this is the table which gives you the result of various operations on a pair of inputs. Let us see this program. Run the program on your simulator and examine the results. So here what is done, the values are being, different logical operations are performed on operands and the values are stored in ports. So first statement being P0 equal to 35H and 0FH. This is a bitwise ANDing, and you can observe what is the result by looking at the output in the port 0. You can go through this. Already you have learnt all the operators in C, so it will be easily understandable. Next one is write an 8051C program to toggle all bits of P0 and P2 continuously with the 250 ms delay using the inverting and XOR operators respectively. So already this is a done example, but here the new thing is we have to use inverting as well as XOR operators. There is a delay function which is just same as the previous one. Let us look at the main function. Here initially P0 equal to 55H and P2 is also 55H. We have to toggle these two ports using the inverting. So P0 is equal to negation of P0 and P2 is equal to P2 raised to FF. So if you perform XOR, if you know the result of XOR operation, the result will be true only when both the operands are same. If the operands are different, the result will be false. Using that concept it is written, you can observe the output in P0 and P2. Next, go through these examples on your own, they are all similar. This is a little bit important program. Write an 8051C program to convert packed BCD, that is 29, to ASCII and display the bytes on port P1 and P2. It is packed BCD to ASCII conversion. In the main function, three variables x, y, z of unsigned char data type are declared, and then we have another variable of the same data type which is initialized with the value 29H. Then x is equal to my byte and ANDed with 0FH. It is bitwise AND operation, and after that whatever value is stored in x, that is used to get a value in port 1, that is port 1 is equal to x or 0 30h. Both first bitwise ANDing is performed and then bitwise ORing is performed. So we are performing masking here. You could go through this. So after that when you execute the program, you can observe the result here. We know that the ASCII values will be like 31, 32, 33. For 3 it will be 33. We have to convert BCD to ASCII, means we have to first get the value. We have to mask the upper byte. So for masking the upper byte, we are using this statement x equal to my byte and 0fh. It will mask the upper byte. Later we are using bitwise ORing with 30h value. So if it is 3, it will now become 33. Okay. So in the same manner, and please go through this example, manually take one value and try to execute it in the compiler. Conversion program, checksum byte. We have gone through the what we mean by checksum byte. This is a program to calculate the checksum byte for the data 25h, 62h, 3fh and 52h. For the same set of data, we had calculated the checksum byte using an ALP. Now we are going to do it using the C program. So you need an array to store all the 4 hex values, and that array is declared as unsigned char. Then you have one variable sum, because we need to add all these 4 numbers. We need a sum variable, we need another variable x, and we need a variable checksum byte where we are going to store the checksum byte value. So for loop, it is executed 4 times. Since we have 4 numbers, we are going to extract every number from the array into P2, port 2, and then we are finding the sum of all these 4 elements. Then whatever sum value is there, we are sending it to port 1. Okay. So after the execution of this loop, we will get sum, total sum value. Then checksum byte equal to negation of sum plus 1. So whatever sum value we have got, its negation plus 1 will give us the checksum byte, and P1 is equal to checksum byte. The checksum byte value is stored in P1. Negation of sum means we are actually performing the 2's complement here, and then that value is stored as a checksum byte value. Write an 8051 C program to perform the checksum operation to ensure data integrity. If data is good, send ASCII character G to P0, otherwise send P to P0. So it is similar to the previous example, a little bit different in the half part. That is, first we need a array, and in that array we are storing all the values. Here we are using the checksum byte value, that is E8. The numbers are 25h, 62h, 3fh, 52h, and the checksum byte is E8h. All these are stored in the array. Then here, to check whether the data is integrated or not, to check the data integrity, we have to add all the numbers along with the checksum byte, and then if it is 0, it means the data integrity is ensured. Otherwise, it means that some of the data has been changed. Therefore, first using the for loop, all the 5 numbers of the array are added, and if checksum is equal to 0, it means data integrity is assured. Then we have to send G to P0. We have to send ASCII character G, hence within single quote it is being written, else send B to P0. Here Write an 8051 program to convert FDH to decimal and display the digits on P0, P1 and P2. This is binary to decimal and ASCII conversion. First we have to take few variables here. The binary byte is equal to FD, that is the input FDH. Then X is equal to binary byte divided by 10. D1 is equal to binary byte mod 10. D2 is equal to X mod 10, and then D3 is equal to X by 10. So to convert from hex to decimal, we have to go on dividing that number by 10 until and unless we get a number which is less than 10. So send all the bits to P0. The quotient should be less than 10. Until that we have to perform the division operation. Next is 8051C compiler, accessing code ROM RAM data space usage by 8051C compiler. The 8051C compiler allocates RAM locations bank 0, that is addresses from 0 to 7, individual variables, that is addresses from 0, 8 and beyond, array elements, addresses right after variables. Array elements need contiguous RAM locations, and that limits the size of the array due to the fact that we have only 128 bytes of RAM for everything. Stack, addresses right after array elements. RAM data space usage by 8051C compiler. Let us look at the example. Compile and single step the following program on your 8051 simulator. Examine the contents of the 128 byte RAM space to locate the ASCII values. First, an array is being declared with the elements A, B, C, D, E, F from the RAM space. We have the variable Z, and from this RAM space, this array is stored in the RAM space, and from this RAM space we are moving the ASCII values. We are taking the values and sending it to port 1. So you can observe it on port 1. Another example, write, compile and single step for the following program on your 8051 simulator. Examine the contents of the code space to locate the values. So now we have to look at the code space. First, where the array is being declared, which is in the RAM space. Then we have the two variables X and Z. Z is initialized to 0. All are unsigned char data type variables. Then inside the loop, initially Z is decremented, then it is sent to the array, and then from there it is sent to P1. So P1 is in the code space. You can check the values in port 1. Accessing code ROM, here 8052 RAM data space. One of the new features of the 8052 was an extra 128 bytes of RAM space. The extra 128 bytes of RAM helps the 8051 or 52C compiler to manage its registers and resources much more effectively. We compile the C programs for the 8052 microcontroller. First is use the reg52.h header file. Choose the 8052 option while compiling the program. These two changes have to be made in the C program. Go through this example. Next, compare and contrast the following program and discuss the advantages and disadvantages of each. Here one program is given, and in that we are sending ASCII characters of the word hello to the port 1, and here only it is short and simple, but the individual characters are embedded into the program and it mixes the code and data together. Okay, so code space and data space are mixed together. The second program, in the second program, what is done here, also we are having the same word hello, and we are saying the same thing is done what is done in the previous example, but here we are using an array using the RAM data space to store the array elements, therefore the size of array is limited here. And in the third one, here use a separate area of code space for data. You can observe in the second and third example the difference is, in second example my data is from RAM data space, and in the third example it is from the code space. So this allows the size of the array to be as long as you want if you have a on-chip ROM. However, the more code space you use for data, the less space is left for your program code. So data serialization, we shall see this in the next video.